Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this year's Simple Fun 360 Education Week. My name is Norman. I'm the Training and Documentation Manager here at BGL, and I'll be your host for this session as we talk about building your SMSF knowledge. Now, just a few little housekeeping things is everyone is on listen only mode. If you do have any questions, and we do encourage questions, please feel free to utilize the Q&A panel in the Zoom application. We'll be happy to answer questions throughout the session today. And also, this session is made up of part of the entire education week. So if you weren't aware, we are running a weekly long set of webinars. So each day we've got a number of webinars that we're running to help you get the most out of Simple Fun 360. Now, if you haven't done so already, you can head over to our registration page. I'll post that into the chat box, so you should be able to see that link. It is free to join and attend any of the sessions. And regardless of whether you're able to attend those sessions or not, simply by registering, that'll ensure that you get access to the webinar recordings. And all the webinars that we're running this week are going to be recorded. So if you miss anything or you want to watch it again, that will be available to you shortly after the conclusion of Education Week. So again, by all means, head over to that link and register for as many courses or webinars as you can. Now, we thought it was probably the best place to start our Education Week by talking about education and building our SMSF knowledge. So we're joined here by a special guest, someone that has really made a living of trying to help professionals in the SMSF space really get their heads around the complexities around the legislations and the laws around SMSFs. He's been in the industry for over 20 years and is the current CEO and co-founder of Smarter SMSF, and that's the one and only Mr. Aaron Dunn.
Thank you, Norman. So welcome, everyone. Yeah, it is an honour, obviously, to be kicking off Education Week. And it is the right step because, as Norman mentioned there, a lot of it is about building knowledge in this space. And without that knowledge, then we obviously can't execute with the software that makes such a profound difference in the work that we do for our clients. And I've been fortunate to having worked with the BGL team for a long period of time, that our courses not only help those internally at BGL to be able to support you and help the knowledge of the team members, whether they're on the front line of support or whether they're maybe within the technical teams within BGL, but we see a real importance in delivering scalable solutions like you can through a learning management system in building that knowledge to be able to accelerate the growth of individuals that are working within the firm, but also in terms of managers to take on what I see as more of a mentoring style role that couples itself with this type of education that we have. And I think most importantly, as we work through today's sessions, we're going to show you a little bit about how we are designing this education through what we call our Starter, Smarter, Smartest model to ensure that we pitch the right level of education for the right type of student, i.e. staff member, you or team members within your organization. So we're going to, I guess, talk to some slides, but then most importantly, we're going to get into the platform, the BGL Learning Channel, to be able to show you not only how it works, and Norman will obviously take some time explaining and helping you to navigate around some of those key changes on the Learning Channel, but then we'll dive into our modules and show you how that all operates itself. And then we'll finish up with just some other sort of general benefits, not only with the course, but also around our ongoing CPD. So one of the most important things that you will now see on the Learning Channel is that we do have two very distinct and different courses that are available. The first is our SMSF Foundations Course, and the second is our SMSF Essentials Course. So you'll see here on the screen in the BGL Learning Channel when you go in, you will now see those courses available, and we'll work through shortly how you can access those. So we do have, in essence, our Foundations course being our starter course, and then our smarter course being the Essentials. And as the term denotes, our smartest model being our advanced course is something that we are working on and look forward to releasing in 2025. Now, a little bit of an explanation of each of these particular courses for you. So our Foundations course is made up of 6 individual modules. So they go through the basic principles around contributions, around how pensions work, what the reporting requirements are, so on and so forth. So they are in total around 10 hours of education that is all self-paced and enabling you to work through that within a 3-month time frame that we have to complete that via the BGL learning channel. It is all remote access, and as you do any of the content within the BGL learning channel, you can simply do that at your own pace, and incorporates interactive learning and validates that learning as you go along. And I'll talk to that when we get into some of those modules a little bit more shortly. It does recognize a certificate upon completion of this, and naturally we're spending time regularly in each of these courses to ensure that they remain up to date and current, so that you are working with things as the law currently applies. So I've got here, obviously, the price that is indicated for our Foundations course. And the most important thing that we've done in the past 12 or so months is, as an accredited educator with the SMSF Association, we have partnered with them in all of our courses to be able to deliver a complimentary period of membership. So with our Foundations course, a student who successfully completes that Foundations course does become entitled to obtain a complimentary period of membership with the SMSF Association as an affiliate member. So that's valued at an additional $290 per annum. And I'm going to jump across and show you a little bit more about that shortly. Our Essentials course goes from our starter approach up to our smarter approach. And this is where we now have 7 modules and provides 18 accredited CPD hours, which are awarded again upon completion. It is built in the same way in which our Foundations course is, and many of the courses that you'll see that BGL also have within the learning channel. You do have an additional period of time to complete that course, and again, you will get a CPD certificate here that is awarded upon successful completion. Now, it is current to earlier in 2024. We are currently working through a number of updates for the current year. So whilst you might be working through those modules, you may also come across a point in time where those new files are being uploaded, and then you would be able to go back and undertake those updates. A really good example of that just might be with changes to contribution caps. It might be the introduction of measures around Division 296, or the changes with the non-arm's length income rules. All of those are examples where at Smarter SMSF, we're spending time keeping on top of what's changing, and then where relevant, updating the content around that to ensure that those students that are working through topics have the most current and accurate information. Now, again here with our relationship with the SMSF Association, those students who complete the Essentials course then become eligible to claim a complimentary period of associate membership with the SMSF Association, and that is valued at $640. So I'm going to just quickly jump across to the website here, and you can see the first one I wanted to just touch on is, once that has been completed, we'll then effectively navigate you through here to be able to take advantage of this particular period of membership. Just noting that the membership cycle runs effectively to the 31st of March each year. So if this was successfully completed now, you would get, in essence, that period of membership through to that point in time, and you can then go away and have a look at the different benefits that you get based upon the course that is successfully completed. So let's keep moving through because I want to sort of get more stuck into the, I guess, the live content here. So when people ask me, well, Aaron, what do the differences look like? Who are these courses actually designed for? So our Foundations course, we have our, it's set up for what we see as new starters. So those that are graduates, we're seeing a growing number of firms that have offshore teams and those with admin staff. The Foundations course to understand the fundamentals, to be able to do your work, concepts and stuff, certainly built in that regard. So anywhere, say up to 2 or 3 years of industry experience is certainly set out to take advantage of the Foundations course. We do have full course outlines that you can access via the Smarter SMSF courses page on the BGL website as well. And as I mentioned, it's all about introductions to key concepts relevant to the SMSF life cycle. And again, I'll explain a little bit more as we jump into that course. Our Essentials course, so our Smarter course, does take on a more intermediate level of knowledge. So it is more designed for those that are maybe senior accountants, maybe in paraplanning, you may be a public practitioner, but you do more broadly other things as well. So you're looking to maintain that currency knowledge, what other things have been happening within the industry that need me to make sure that my skills are up to date. We also see it being used in some instances by professionals that just kind of need a refresher in particular topics as well. And most importantly, we see this as part of the pathway to you becoming a specialist, which is why we have that association linked to the SMSF Association and that associate membership, because it really starts to get you on your journey to becoming that SMSF specialist. So how to purchase? Well, we have with BGL a dedicated BGL page about the Smarter SMSF courses. So what we have, if I just jump across to the site, you'll see on here, we have this bglcorp.com/Smarter SMSF courses, and you can go online here and find out more about each of those. So the course outline that we spoke about, we've got videos that kind of take you through some of this. We have our Essentials course in the same guise, and you can see the breakdown of some of that information along with a number of FAQs that we have there as well. So you can effectively purchase from this page and it will take you over to the BGL payment gateway in essence to get you logged in. And Norman, if I'm not mistaken from here, once that user has purchased, they will then get the email sent through to them with their ability to access the course online if they aren't already, I guess, utilizing access to the learning channel via their BGL software in the first instance.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, correct. So I just wanted to double check I had that all covered off correctly. So I'm going to jump back again here to our slides again because I want to really get stuck into the next thing. So most importantly, and Norman, again, I'll get you to maybe explain it here. So once the student has purchased or someone's purchased it for them, it will then sit in their assigned training. So they may have a number of things within their Simple Fund 360 products that they have assigned to them. They should, in essence, be going to that assigned training tab to be able to view that course. It will then display once they have been registered in for whether it's the Essentials course or Foundations course.
Yeah, so once you do register, it will, yes, you're right, it will sit in the assigned training for that person. So when they log in or access the learning channel through the app switcher, ideally, they'll be able to head into the screen, access the whichever course that they have signed up for.
Yep, perfect. All right, and then once you kind of get into the relevant course here, you're then going to see each of those modules be presented on your screen, like you can see here. And as I said, we'll jump into. So a couple of things to note here. We do have a welcome video to kick you off. And on that particular screen as well, we've got some important references for you. And one of those references that we do have is a complete user guide. Now we have the user guide set up on our own site. So we do have a particular link that will take you across into our knowledge base. And then what you can see in here is a fully mapped out knowledge base article for you to go through and help you to understand different questions that you might have and how you can effectively navigate through each and all of those particular modules. Now, if we jump back in again, noting that I am going backwards and forwards a lot, but want to make sure we keep this as interactive as possible for you. Each of the modules, and you'll see this shortly, contains not only that welcome video and outline, but then what those key learning outcomes are. And as you'll see as we work through some of these particular modules, it is a blend of learning experiences. So you'll see videos, whether it's of myself or of Tim Miller, who's our technical and education manager at Smarter SMSF. Each of the slides, you're going to have audio on there. You're also going to find interactions that validate much of the learning that you see along the way. Each of the modules have their own workbooks. So our Essentials course has over 200 pages of written content, all linked to ATO, case law, and a range of other things that are important to you undertaking that particular course. There are a range of references and glossaries of terms as well. And then upon completion of each module, you will be required to complete an assessment, and that assessment will be subject to the length of time that particular module takes. So in our Foundations course, it's ordinarily, say, 5 questions through a pool of questions that you need to complete. You'll have a set time frame to be able to undertake that. Something in the Essentials course might be more like 7 or 10 questions. For example, our tax module is over 4 hours worth of content. So in that respect, there is more questions that would need to be completed because we've naturally got more topics that we cover in that particular instance as well. So let's go in and actually go have a look at the course here, or courses more generally. And Norman, I don't know if you want to first, before we sort of kick things off in here, want to make any initial comments in terms of look, feel, anything that's changed in recent times as part of Education Week to let people know what's going on from the Learning Channel point of view.
Yeah, so if you haven't accessed this for a while, we have made a revamp on the style of the Learning Channel. So we really gave it a facelift to make it a bit more easier to navigate, but also to kind of see where your progress is tracking as well. So in this initial page, you'll be able to see things like your current trainings that you've initiated. Also on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see things like anything that's been assigned to you as well. So if you head over to the learning library, again, we'll be able to see all those courses. You'll be able to filter through the courses that are available to you, whether you want to look at the Simple Fund courses or even some of the CAS courses for other products as well. So at the moment, we've provided these courses for free, so you'll be able to access it to really learn how to use our software. But if you also have access to Aaron's course, you will have access to Aaron's course through this page as well. Yeah.
Very good. Well, as I mentioned in the slides earlier, we can see there the assigned training. So naturally, I have all of these linked to me for the purposes of today's session. So when we go into the Foundations course here, it will tell you, as Norm was showing, the progress in terms of what we've covered. And as I mentioned originally, we have our welcome page, again, taking you to the user guide if you have any particular questions, the makeup of the course, and I guess what would happen thereafter. Each of these, as is the way with any of the course content on the BGL Learning Channel, it is quite simple in its navigation to be able to move either backwards or forwards through each of the particular pages. And we have what are called SCORM compliant files. So what that means is each of these modules are built into the actual page that you can see in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just exit out of here, and I'm going to pick one of these because it doesn't really matter what topic we're looking at. So I'm going to go down and just look at reporting requirements, for example. And what you can see in here is, as I mentioned before, the fact that you can pick up where you have left off previously. So if you are halfway through the module and you need to stop because you've got a client meeting or you're at the end of the day or whatever, you can simply click yes, and it will recognize where you were and then take you to that point in time where you were in that module. So you can see on the right-hand side here, we have the complete outline of all of the topics or elements to the topics of that particular module that we have in here. You can either turn on or off the audio at the bottom here. You can open this up into full screen if you'd like to as well. You can run the audio at a slightly faster pace if you want to hear Tim and myself talking at a slightly faster pace, rather than at simply 1 times. And then again, you've got a very simple approach to moving across from slide to slide. And you can see in here, as I said, there is particular welcomes. So that cross of video, audio, and so forth. Now, one of the things that we have done as we work through this particular module and with the Foundations course is that we have characters for the entire SMSF Foundations course. And we'll probably go back and do this with our Essentials course as well, because it gives you an understanding and appreciation of those particular characters like you would with clients, and take them through each of the topics in that relevant superannuation life cycle. So whether the module looks at an accumulation phase around contributions, or transition to retirement, or retirement around the payment of superannuation benefits, establishment, if we're looking at, I guess, the entry phase of the SMSF life cycle, you will see cross-reference through this Foundations course the characters and the references to those particular characters. So again, you'll have different videos that will explain that content. And then as you work through each of these particular modules, you will get to a certain point in time, and we will go and test your knowledge and your understanding of the content that has just been covered. So most of the modules will have anywhere between 2 to 4 learning activities as you work through. And from that point in time, once you either choose a correct or incorrect one, in this instance, if I just click it here, it will then give you the information that you need to go and whether you need to go back and have a look at that further. So it will talk to progress in respect to the particular modules, and then in essence take you all the way through to the end of the particular module itself. Now, as part of the module, as I mentioned earlier, you will see a resources area. So in every module, the first thing that you will see is a comprehensive workbook. So in that workbook, as I mentioned before, whether it's an Essentials course or a Foundations course, there is a complete breakdown of all the content that we are talking about, understanding that some people are better visually, some people are better readers, some people may prefer to listen. We've got all of those sort of elements covered as part of this process, and all of those activities or interactions throughout the module are also included in here for you to be able to undertake yourself as well. And then in each of those, we also have examples to links to the ATO website. It may be references to sample documents where you see fit as well. So each of these modules, as I said, will take you through. You can then see once that has been completed, it will then move you into the assessment that needs to be done for that. You have a standard pass mark that needs to be completed, time limits where relevant, and then simply work through that. Once you've completed that module and assessment, you will then go and move on to the next one as well. There's no mandated requirement for you to have to go from module 1 to module 2 to module 3 to module 4, but to get your certificate of completion, you naturally have to have each and all of those completed in their own right. So that is in essence the same setup in terms of how that content works for the Foundations course as much as it does for the Essentials course as well. So if I just go into, we might go into pensions and paying benefits here. What you can then see in here, very similarly to what we've had previously, is you've got not only the welcome videos, the resources, all those sorts of things in here for you. You've got your relevant learning outcomes.
Welcome to module.
Turn that off again. You can again see all the breakdown of that information. Again, a consistency in your workbooks and relevant information around those particular topics that we have. So like I said, with our Essentials course, there's over 200 pages in total, and we've even started to introduce concepts such as the Division 296 tax and so forth within the tax modules. And again, looking at just the timing of when some of those laws might come in as well. So we're not only covering, I guess, what is law, but we're making you aware of topics that may be on the horizon as well. So we're, and again, referencing to decisions, ATO rulings and other guides there. Very different in our Essentials course, because here we're looking more specifically at rulings, whereas in the Foundations course, we're looking more at things like ATO pages with references. And where relevant, we will also include sample documents, or we'll make reference to sample documents within those particular pages on the site as well. So it might be around a minimum pension shortfall and the fact that we have that document available on the Smarter SMSF platform, or it might be a link back to a deed, so you know what you're looking for in a particular sort of topic, or how a rule might work in that regard as well. But it's fairly intuitive in terms of how this naturally works. Most people, I guess, have used it. That feedback is that it is intuitive in that regard. And if you do have any support or feedback, naturally you can get in contact with us via email, or you can provide feedback, whether it's through the BGL support team and it comes back to us, or you can get directly in contact with us as well. Now, Norman, that's probably all I need to speak about, probably from the course's point of view. Most people, I think, have an understanding of the navigation around those. Is there any other things within the learning channel itself to make people aware of?
Yeah, definitely. We've added a lot more reporting elements in terms of managing your firms as well, additionally to some of the navigation things. So, yeah, if you like, I'll take control and take the audience through some of the changes we've made to the learning channel.
Yeah, go for it.
And let's see, here we go. All right, so I'm sharing my screen here. Now, first thing I'll start with, just in case people weren't aware, you can access the learning channel from within your BGL products. So all of our BGL products have this app switcher at the top of the screen, and that will allow you to flip between other BGL products, and one of them is the learning channel. And the learning channel will take you to our learning channel page, which you've seen with Aaron. Again, you can go through our content library, but again, other than the SMSF courses, we've also got the courses that we offer at BGL, and again, they're free to access and go through. They do offer you a certificate at the end, but they're built really to help you get your head around how to use our softwares as well. So if you can't make it to one of our live trainings, when we run them every month, you can run through the courses through the learning channel as well. Like with Aaron's courses, we have videos associated with the courses. So we've invested a lot of time and energy into creating really interactive videos, and something that's kind of interesting to look at. But also we've implemented things like interactives, which are software simulations to get you an idea of how they actually work within the softwares itself. Also, we've added things like interactives, exercises. So pages of information, which hopefully makes it a bit more interesting and engaging, so that you can learn a bit more about different components, things about certain fields within the product, and what you're actually looking to implement. But something more that we've added recently over the last 6 months is just better access to reporting over your firm and how your firm members are progressing through the courses. So initially, when you sign up for BGL and you get access to the learning channel, your firm will be under a team within the learning channel, and you'll have one dedicated team leader within that learning channel access. Now, at the moment, the team leader is selected by default as whoever has first access to your Simple Fund 360 or other BGL products. But if you want to adjust who your team leader is for the learning channel, simply log a support call with us and we can sort that out for you. But the differences between a learner and a team leader is your team leaders are now going to have access to the hub page, which looks very much like this. You'll be able to look at your team and the people within your team. So if we look at the people, you'll be able to see all the people that are in your firm. So naturally, this will be auto-created for you. You don't have to create this yourself. This will be based on your user screen within the product. You'll be able to go to each person to see the courses that they've started as well and see how they're progressing with those courses. Now, just a reminder, this is for the team leader access only. But again, you can get in contact with us. We can organize who your team leader is for your firm, and you can have multiple team leaders as well. Also, we've added a reporting screen that you have access to, and this is where you can do a breakdown and get a complete overview of all the users or all the people within your firm and how they're progressing as well. On the right-hand side, you've got access to a lot of different types of reports, and all the reports are exportable into an Excel spreadsheet as well. So if you like your spreadsheets, we've given you that option as well. The main features that I want to cover as well is mainly around courses, people, and assessments. Those are probably the main ones that you'll be using within the screen. If we look at the courses, so this will be your courses screen. You'll be able to see under a specific course, which I've go back to, let's refresh the screen. You'll be able to go through the courses. Now, you can see that we've got a whole bunch of courses just because these are the ones that we're working on. But you can see within each course, you can go into a course and you can see how your firm is progressing through those courses and whether they've completed it or not. And also at what percentage that they've completed it. Under your people, that'll give you a bit more information about that person. So again, if you want to look at an individual person and how they're progressing with courses, you can look at that as well. And especially with assessments, this is where you can get real-time stats on how your people are progressing with certain topics. So with the assessment screen, I can go into any of these certification or tests and see how people are answering questions and whether there's certain questions or fields that they're struggling with. I can go into question view and look at the different types of questions and actually get an ascertain or an idea of where people are getting questions wrong and where people are succeeding. And so maybe that will lead into things like, okay, where do I have to spend my time mentoring in certain fields, whether I have to go into more explanations on depreciation, for example, or less time in other fields as well. So this will give you, again, a better stats and a better clarification on how your people are actually progressing across the different courses. Now, this won't necessarily tell you the answers of the questions or anything like that. So there's no cheat way to trick the system to find out all the answers or anything like that. But this is a way for you to know whether your people are retaining information or not. So again, if you want access to this screen, just get in touch with us through the support channels, and we'll be able to set up these team leader access levels for your firm. So yeah. Now, in terms of the things that we're looking at in the future is we'll look at more options in the future in terms of assigning better courses and potentially in the future, maybe course creation as well. So you'll be able to create your own assessments as well. But that's something a bit in the future. But hopefully that's something that we'll like to see people use more of in the next few months, and we'll see how this reporting feature goes. But yeah, over to you, Aaron.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, so I think the most important part there, Norman, as you said, is making sure if you've got control, if you're in control of team members, that you're making sure that they're navigating through properly and getting it done within the relevant timeframes. I think one of the most frustrating things from our side, and we know that people get busy, but about a week before they always go, "Oh, can I have that little bit more time?" because I hadn't really completed it. Just so making sure that people, your team are working through that within reasonable timeframes, and then looking at the assessments and working out, whether they are working through this successfully or not. And that's really the role of the manager that we see supporting their team member in essence. And I might just quickly jump back to share my screen here. Is the most important thing that I see is that you switch from being a mentor switch to a mentor from being the actual trainer themselves. And this is something, I don't know, Doug's not the support manager there anymore, but I know, Norman, and maybe I can get you to speak to this a little bit as well with the team, with our courses, is the support team have been using it was the Essentials course, but I guess it maybe is a combination of these, but it's that acceleration of knowledge, being able to have hands-on content to be able to support them without having to have a team member there holding their hand around that stuff. So taking on board the learnings that you're getting from this course content, like I said, the different blends in terms of how that content is provided. But the real advantage that I see is not only the acceleration of learning on that side, but the opportunity cost that occurs when a new team member comes on board in your organization, and the world kind of stops because the manager, someone at a manager level or a senior account role, or even the partner, needs to stop and needs to actually talk them through. This is how it works, and this is the law, and this is what happens, rather than going, well, you need to do a course. You need to make sure you're upskilled to the extent that I have confidence in you being able to do that work. And then playing that mentor role that I spoke about in terms of, well, this is how we do things, or you don't understand how the law might work with that. Well, let's apply that practically with this particular client here. And we've done some analysis around this, that it works out on our Essentials course to somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 of value that you get back in time, because the focus is on the job training that you're applying from the skills obtained from the course, not actually having to be the trainer yourself, giving them the autonomy to be able to undertake that work, and then going, well, okay, well, how else do we as an organization keep ourselves up to speed with what's happening in that SMSF space? And that's why I come back to, this is our education matrix at Smarter SMSF. So in that context of our starter, smarter, smartest approach, and then looking at, how do we actually then deliver both in an e-learning environment, which again is available through that learning channel, but then the other things that we run each and every month throughout the year as well. So for us, it's not just about sort of going in, doing a course and understanding that that's it. We know and have known for many years that the number one challenge in our industry remains around currency of knowledge. The government can't seem to help themselves in changing the rules around these things. So it is not only about that currency of knowledge through utilizing our courses, but then also going, well, how else do we keep ourselves up to date? And we have a number of products to be able to support people in that regard as well. So I guess from my point of view, being a part of BGL Education Week, was to say, we do now have both courses available here for students to be able to take advantage of through the BGL Learning Channel. And really, it provides an opportunity to take that technical knowledge and then go and apply it in a practical sense with the great learnings that BGL have now got within not only the Simple Fund product, but Simple Invest and CAS 360, which you're going to see right across these next few weeks across Education Week. These can be purchased individually, or you can, if you're looking at it from different team members, well, then there is the opportunity to use some of that sort of back-end work that Norman showed you as well. We even have our own sort of enterprise models if you've got your own learning systems, if that was needed. But most importantly, it's then the fact that there's a pathway for you. And that's why our partnership with the SMSF Association we see as being really important, because it gives you that opportunity to go, what's next in my SMSF journey? And this goes a long way to be able to helping you to do that. And then, as I said, it is only just part of that overall journey and keeping up to date. We at Smarter SMSF have a number of ways to be able to support you in that regard as well. So, Norman, if you've got any other final things you'd like to say, we can do so.
Yeah, I guess I second what Aaron said. The Smart SMS courses have been like huge for our onboarding process, especially with the support team.
Yep.
So believe it or not, I've been with BGL for 12 years, and I've been in the training and documentation fields for over a decade now. So I've really seen how BGL evolved in terms of how we onboard new staff, especially with the support team. I remember early days when I started, it was literally you were given about five textbooks and told to read them and learn. And then the process for some people would be a month or even 2 months before they actually got on the job work experience. Now these days with the online courses, we're now able to reduce that time to about a week. So we're saving 2, 3 months of actual training work and then condensing that within the week and then getting them onto uh, work experience, actual training and contributing to the company. But also it changed how we also recruit as well, because it's one thing going from being able to train somebody faster, but also some of the benefits that you get from doing that isn't measurable through a KPI like that back in the day, because as Aaron mentioned, we spent a lot of resources really training people, and it got to a point where there was a lot of time from an individual like myself who had to create these courses for our new staff to teach them around super, that we were almost pigeonholed to having to do a recruitment drive where we recruit 3, 4 people at a time for support. And that meant support not having X amount of people for some time before we got the amount of numbers that we could introduce. Now having an online on-demand course, we're almost able to hire people one at a time and to ensure that that team never goes understaffed as well. But also the turnaround time is faster. But also with that view of being able to hire one at a time instead of having to hire a whole bunch of people at a time, we were able to now spend more time ensuring that we get the right person for the job as well. And then that's more valuable having at BGL. So there, yeah, again, there's a lot of benefits to having an online course like the Smarter SMSF courses. Not only the time that you save from training people, but also that ongoing effect in terms of how that affects your overall business.